In this tutorial, I'll be covering several advanced browser features, including browser synchronization, category-sensitive attributes, tagging factory sounds, and tagging new sounds. The first browser filter always displays the categories. When using the browser in attributes mode, the other three filters can be set to different attribute types, which can be selected from a drop-down menu. Let's say I want the first attribute type to be author. So author is the attribute type, and the names are attribute assignments. I want the second browser filter to be mood. So in this case, mood is the attribute type, and the different moods are attribute assignments. The attribute types that are available for you to select depend on the category you're in. For instance, if I select the category synthesizers, you'll notice that the attribute type, for example, gender, is grayed out. That's because there's no sound source in this category with a gender attribute assignment. That's really helpful because it prevents you from selecting attribute types that have no meaning for a category. Sometimes it's useful to maintain the selections made in the browser filters when switching parts or layers. That can be done by going to the browser settings and enabling browser synchronization. Since I'm in the sound source browser, in this case it syncs the sound source browsers from every part and layer to the same browser filter selections. Let's check it out. Let's say you're working on a project and you know you'll have to use a lot of psychoacoustic sounds. I'll select psychoacoustic, and now I can select different parts and layers, and I'll be looking only at psychoacoustic sound sources. If I want to browse for psychoacoustic bowls and bells, I'll select bowls and bells here, and now every sound source browser will be synced to those settings. As shown in the basic browser tutorial, when you change categories, the attribute types automatically change to attributes that are the most meaningful for those types of sounds. But what if you want to set the attribute types to something like author, timbre, and source, and you want them to stick as you change categories? You can do this by going to Settings and disabling category-sensitive attributes. When this is not enabled, the attribute types in the browser filters will be maintained as you change categories. If I turn it on, as I change categories, the attribute types will automatically change to the default settings. This effective way to browse is possible because every sound in Omnisphere is tagged. Tagging is a key element to having a great browsing experience. So let's check that out. I loaded the sound source Bowed Acoustic Guitar. You can see its tags by clicking here, or by going to the sound source zoom. You can edit the tags for this sound by clicking this button. This gives you access to the Edit Tags pane. In this page, you'll find all the tags entered for the selected sound, in this case, bowed acoustic guitar. These are the attribute types used, and here are the attribute assignments. You'll notice that the attribute types are inside a red box. This means that they're required. The required attribute types are per category, so whenever a sound from, in this case, the psychoacoustic category is tagged, it must contain attribute assignments for these attribute types. A category can have up to 8 required attribute types, and these can be set by simply resizing the red box. There's a lot you can do to customize the factory data tags. Let's try a couple of things. I'm going to add an assignment to timbre. I can see all the possible assignments for timbre in this area. They can be displayed in this way, where you can see what's assigned in the other attribute types, but you may need to scroll to see the full list. Or, by clicking on More, they can be displayed like this, where you get more results in order to reduce the amount of scrolling. The Category button will highlight all of the assignments for timbre that have already been used in the category we're in, psychoacoustic. The Sort button will put those assignments at the top of the list. Just for this example, let's add experimental. Assignments can be added to factory data, but notice that factory assignments can't be removed. Now let's add keywords. Let's suppose this sound reminds me of medieval music, so I'll use medieval as a keyword. Notes can be completely edited. You can add to them or write your own from scratch. Let's add the word harmonia here, right after ring modulation. I'll click Save, and let's use the tags we just added. First, I'm going to do a search for medieval sounds inside psychoacoustic. Cool. Bowed acoustic guitar shows up. Now let's clear the search field and browse for psychoacoustic experimental sound sources. First in the list, there's bowed acoustic guitar. And if you look at the notes, you'll notice that the word harmonia shows up right here. Now let's try saving a patch that I created from scratch and go through the tagging process. I've created this patch. I'll go to the Utility menu and select Save Patch. This dialog box comes up and it's already pointing to the User Patches folder. I'm going to give this patch a name and save it inside the ARP and Rhythm category. I'll click Save, and the Edit Tags pane comes up. You'll notice that these attributes are inside a red box, so that means they're required. If I leave them blank, I won't be able to save this patch. Keep in mind that if I click Cancel at this point, the patch still won't be saved. Let's tag it. In Pattern, I'll assign Arpeggiated. In Type, Modern Patterns. In Genre, Electronica. In Complexity, Level 2 Medium. And my name is the author. Now let's say I want to add an attribute type. I'll click over here in the next available slot, and a drop-down menu listing several attribute types shows up. I'd like to add tonality as an attribute type, but it's not in the list. I'll select Create New Attribute Type and type Tonality. There are no assignments for it, so I'll create a new one by clicking here. I'll type minor, since the sound source I'm using in this patch is in a minor key, and press Return. Done. To remove an attribute type, all you need to do is click on the arrow next to it and select Remove this attribute from the drop-down menu. Now let's add a keyword. I'm planning to use this patch in a remix I'm working on, so I'll type remix here. And I'm going to add a web link and some notes. Use the mod wheel to modulate FM depth. Cool. I'll click Save, and that's it. Now the patch is saved. I'll go to the patch browser, search for Remix, and here's the patch I just saved. When you combine all these advanced features together, the browser becomes an incredibly powerful tool for helping you organize and manage all your sounds. It's also extremely flexible, making it easy to adapt to your workflow, so it's really worth spending some time exploring it.